What's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to detail why this 4570 round is likely to be way too brutal. Understand that we're saying 4570 and brutal, but there is a fine line between eating meat and putting an animal down. I just got back from the swamps and I rolled me a really nice hog, but by the time I got through processing my meat and got through trimming off all the bloodshot stuff, man, I found out that this round actually grenaded inside of it. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to use ballistic gel. I have videos of what happened to the neck, which viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to gray it out just in case. I want to use this ballistic gel and see what happened to that round and see if it actually did explode. So you guys stay tuned. All right, so here are our blocks. I've turned them around to try to get the sunlight to work for us. These are clear ballistic 6x6 by 16 inch blocks. And yes, I apologize, this one's a little bit hazy. I've got to get my channel into a different income bracket before I can afford new blocks all the time. Of course, there is our entrance. Now, here is where we start losing instantly in the first inch. There is a pedal, a pedal, a pedal. So right there in that first inch, this thing goes ahead and starts losing jacket. Now there's our red ballistic tip. And you can see all this temporary stretch right here, which basically my hog's neck was about 6 inches. So this is what turned that neck into meat spaghetti. Not spaghetti meat, meat spaghetti. It was just big strings. But like I said, this was the amount of space that we're looking at. So all of that just blossomed out, closed back up, and the slug drove itself out. Unfortunately, I didn't catch this one. But see, you can see right there is a piece of lead. There's another piece of lead. There's another piece of lead. There's a piece of lead. There's a piece of lead right before it exits, because it veered out from under the block here. So these pieces of lead are what I found in the shoulder. It was almost like picking shotgun pellets out of small game. So yeah, man, this thing just blew apart, lost all kinds of pieces and particles the whole way through. And boy, did it bloodshot some meat. I had to cut probably out of the front shoulders, probably about a half a pound of bloodshot meat out of the front shoulders. And of course, over the chronograph, here are our results. You can pause them if you want to look at them. And something worth noting, I recently did this test with a 500 Magnum with a similar weight projectile and a similar velocity. But with that one, I was only using a 5/4 inch deck board. This, I'm using a whole 2x6. And dude, it had enough energy to fracture this thing all the way through. That is incredible. And today's exploding ammunition is brought to you by Hornady, the Lever Evolution line. This is what grenaded in the hog's neck. I know that started to sound like I was doing an ad for them, but no. Of course, you can see by that price that this is stuff I've had sitting around for just a minute. A lot of you are probably like, well, why didn't you load your own? Well, quite frankly, I just needed to grab a box that was already developed. That way I could sight in the ATN. And now I have got to brag on this XS Sights lever rail. That lever rail right there fits the Henry round barrel models, and this thing gave me enough real estate to put this big mahoosive ATN scope on here and have an offset red dot. I've already had to rob that offset red dot for another project, but boy, having all of this area on here and having all of those available slots was really daggum nice. Of course, I like XS Sights because they're all made in America, and it's my choice for any of my defensive handguns. I'll always put a set of XS Sights on there. Of course, this is showing that we've got a muzzle velocity of 2,000 feet per second. This is a 19.3 inch barrel, and I got a little bit slower than that. Of course, what they talk about is the patented FTX and Monoflex bullets featuring flex tip technology. Now that's what this is. This is the little flex tip that comes out. That helps these things have a better ballistic coefficient and fly a little better. But that's the one that was actually left in the gel. So that keeps your hollow point from just being this wide open ashtray. Of course, it says safe for use in tubular magazines, which is good for a lever gun. Exceptional accuracy and overwhelming downrange terminal performance. Well, exceptional accuracy, yeah. I can put 4 bullets in the same hole at 50 yards with it. Definitely exceptional accuracy. But this overwhelming downrange terminal performance, it blew up. And I've got the pieces to prove it. Of course, I couldn't capture mine, so I shot these two into a berm just so that I could have some captured projectiles. And you can see them. I mean, they did their job in the dirt. But now what I was concerned about is what wound up in my pig and what wound up in the ballistic gel. Now, if you'll remember when we looked at the ballistic gel, there was a little star pattern where these little petals right here come off. Those little petals break off 1 inch into the gel. So I'd imagine they did the same thing in my pig, because I was finding just little junk like that. Of course, this right here, these are the lead pieces that came out of the gel. I can say they're, about the equivalent. You can see they're flat, but they're about the equivalent of number 6 birdshot. Just in what they weigh to me. But I was pulling this all out of the shoulders of that hog. I mean, I'm talking just pieces and pieces of lead just flew out. Of course, these two, I put those in the ultrasonic to try to clean some of the icky, nasty stuff off of it. But you can just see just grenaded projectiles coming out of the meat of that hog. And then, of course, this was in the meat too. These pieces actually came out of the gel. But I had just tons of just fragments just all over the place. So, like I was saying earlier in the video, on a scale from 1 to dead right there, she was freaking dead right there. But there's also a fine line in harvesting an animal and eating the meat. I mean, it absolutely did the trick. I shot her in the neck, and it didn't actually touch the bone, but now there was a bunch of bone shards, I guess, from just where it blew her spine up. But yeah, these, like I said, these came out of the dirt, and I'm very sure that this would have been indicative of what I would have gotten out of the hog and the gel. But what was wild is the entrance and the exit were literally the same size. I didn't realize the pandemonium that had taken place until we started processing our animal. So now, on a scale of 1 to dead right there, she was absolutely just dead right there, which was perfect. Goal number 1, we didn't want to have to track this thing. Well, we also wanted to save some meat. Matter of fact, I've got some pulled pork processing right now at the house, so that's cooking. I'm going to have to get back home and get to tending to it. About time to wrap it up and keep some of that moisture inside. But we're going to be eating really good tonight. But I did take quite a bit of work to get all those little lead BBs out of it. And even still, when I'm doing the pulled pork, I am going to be keeping a mindful eye to make sure that I don't find all of that lead in it. Which today, this one, I'm processing the shoulder that was facing away from me. I'm going to do it first. That's the one we're turning into pulled pork. I'm going to do it first. That way I can find most of my lead, and the next one should be trouble-free. So in conclusion, when I go back to that spot, I'm going to wind up probably running me a 405 grain, somewhere around 1,400 feet per second. Maybe we can still go lights out without ruining so much meat. We'll just back it off a little bit. So I'll go with a tougher bullet, and like I said, back that velocity off. We should still have plenty of kinetic energy to go lights out with the animal, because that's what you owe them. You owe them no suffering. You owe them no pain. You just want it to be lights out, over with, and done. Now, if you will, check out those Linktree links down below. Those Linktree links, they're all affiliate links. While you're doing your shopping, while you're getting a scope, getting your camouflage, getting anything else like that, the primary arms, Palmetto State, blah, 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 I make 3 to 5%. Now, that 3 to 5% isn't much, but it helps put ammo back into guns, it helps put gas back in the tank, and it helps me keep making videos like this. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have, please consider subscribing, smash that thumbs up, leave me an awesome comment. I love to converse with you guys in the comment section. We'll see you next video. I love you, and, well, Maybe I don't love the lever revolution as much as I should, but we'll see you.